You've often heard the term subluxation used by chiropractors. Well, at Ability, we don't care so much about the vernacular as what we do the detriments and the pitfalls of subluxation. So for all intents and purposes, let's think of subluxation as a fixated, immobile segment, often caused by some thought, trauma, toxin, stress that has accumulated over time and impacted the function of your neuromusculoskeletal system or any joint movement in your body, right? So typically the detriments of subluxation are categorized into 5 different parts. Part number 1 is kinesiopathology. Already previously discussed, when you have a segment that's not moving well, it rarely stays at that segment. Most often, it impacts adjacent segments and can even impact your body globally, your ranges of motion, your gait, your flexibility, etc. How your joints work together through movement. Number 2, myopathology. Changes in the soft tissue and the tone thereof. Weakening of muscles, imbalances of muscles, recurrent injuries of muscles, failure for several soft tissue injuries to heal, repetitive trauma and stress to the muscular system. Number 3, histopathology. This one is really interesting because most people think of edema or inflammation, but histo is cell, pathology is disease, cellular disease, all the way down to the cellular level. A subluxation can cause dysfunction. In a metabolic activity of a cell, that cell's interactions and encounters with other cells, etc. So all of a sudden now you see that your joint fixation, your immobility problem is more than just a back problem, which then feeds in to number 4, which is neuropathophysiology. Now you're actually starting to degrade the nervous system. The messages from point A to point B and point B back to point A, those get interrupted. You now have hypersensitivity maybe in your surroundings. You have a problem integrating sensory data and input. Or maybe you have dullness of your senses and you can't interpret or perceive what's going on in your body or around it. These are all symptoms of a neuropathophysiology, which ultimately leads us up to point and side effect and dis-ease number 5, which is pathophysiology. Again, patho is disease. This is when you have a prolonged stress in your system for so long that you actually have global nervous system dysfunction. If you were to try and fit a single symptom within that category, it's impossible. This is why it is important that we not only work through active range of motion, through passive range of motion, but we get to that all-important paraphysiological space to remove the fixation in the joint. Provide enough input to stimulate the nerves, to reduce the inflammation, to cause muscle engagement or relaxation, whichever one is necessary for your body. Ultimately providing more balance and less dis-ease to your system, leading to lesser amounts of pathophysiology. That is how a back problem can turn into a health problem in short order.